Please welcome Jaye Garcia-Glennie.
Good morning, y'all. I know what you're thinking. My God, this is a crap cosplay of Mirabelle. But I'm not Mirabelle, I'm Jaye. And I have a smoke show of a husband with a really sexy British accent, 2 children with disturbingly oversized intellects, 9 3/4 fingers after a freak surfing accident in Costa Rica a couple of years ago, and a very dirty mouth. I did try to warn Corcom that this wasn't gonna work out. For some reason, they didn't take the hint. They were like, LOL, you so crazy. And I was like, hide the pain, Harold. Once I cursed so much at a presentation at my son's school for data engineering that I owed a local charity $1,000. And those were children, y'all are screwed. So if you have tender ears, you might want to exit now. This is your warning. I asked my team, how can I spark joy for almost 2,000 people in 5 minutes? And my technical project manager had a great suggestion. You're not gonna believe this, but I ran it by Corcom and they weren't as keen. So I'm here to talk about joy, except joy is a little shiny, happy people, like putting the cult in culture, and I'm not here to get you to drink the corporate Kool-Aid. So I'd rather use less loaded terms like enjoyment, engagement, and enthusiasm. How does my team have fun at work? It is so simple. I force them to. Just kidding, that never works. And spoiler alert, I'm not gonna turn your team into a fun factory in 5 minutes despite my best efforts and as many F words as I can fit in. If you take nothing else away from these 5 minutes, remember this: people here are far more important than profits and problems. It's my job and my joy to ensure that we see ourselves as a community of people before we see ourselves as a means of production. Shit. Who gave Ben Braun a Nerf gun? But how do we build that community? I read these articles years ago, and they impacted me profoundly. And the TLDR is connectedness, dynamic touch points, and psychological safety. Louder for those in back, it's connectedness, dynamic touch points, and psychological safety. The article was originally written in 2012, so they didn't really know jack shit about the pandemic that was about to completely upend our world. My team is not located together. In fact, 4 weeks ago, I was living in England, but still, we managed to have our bond. This has nothing to do with geographic proximity at all. In fact, sometimes this year, this is where we've all worked due to family obligations or extended travel plans or just little whims that take us here and there. But proximity in this case refers to connectedness, accessibility, and shared purpose. The second bucket is repeated unplanned interactions. I don't mean stalking, not after last time. But it's about sharing personal tidbits, things that have nothing to do with work. Accessibility means encouraging completely random and organic exchanges, posting tidbits in our team channel, both personal and topical, little fur babies, that sort of thing. Asking random non-work questions, getting to know folks, hosting weekly table topics and freaky facts. In fact, table topics eventually expanded to our entire vertical. A couple weeks ago, some people had some incredibly passionate feelings about condiments, almost as much as Stefan. The other thing we do is we make minor meetings matter. That, I just totally practiced that and it still fucked it up. There's no need for meetings that don't have just a little bit of irreverence, depending on what the topic is. And in our biweekly meetings, all of our status updates have to be done in the form of haikus, for instance. We share freaky facts, and I'll get back to that later. It's also enjoying time together, no matter where we are, and being joyful together. Here are some of the virtual and in-person socials that we've had, and every single time we leave with a sense of, don't know, I don't want to say love, that's creepy, but like warmth for each other. In fact, in one of these virtual socials, someone set themselves on fire, and like nothing bonds a team better than trauma, right? So it's not like I planned it, but I'm not sad it happened. She's fine. She's fine. For instance, look at this, Joy. It looks like someone broke Courtney, and it looks like Tyler gave birth to those margaritas he's so proud. I mean, does it take time, energy, and money to make that happen? Ben! Someone please take that Nerf gun away from him. But we like to focus on the good things because everything else is just bad gravy. An important part of these transactions is that they're not transactional. No one needs to be asking about TPS report or your JIRA status case or, oh, Jay, why is your presentation not done? The last thing is a setting that encourages people to let their guard down and confide each other. That's psychological safety. It's a very schmancy way of saying, if I can steal from the British, and I do all the time, being married to one, don't be a mood hoover. A mood hoover is someone who comes and sucks all the joy from the room because you have to be so cautious and inauthentic in your interactions with them that there's not enough room for genuine trust, creativity, and productivity. Originally, I was going to say, don't be a douche canoe, but I couldn't clear the graphics past Corecom, and which is like a blow for free speech, but probably a boon for my continued employment at Red Ventures. So, I'm not trying to get fired. Not today, Casey. There is nothing more soul-destroying than having to make yourself smaller to protect yourselves from the slings and arrows of mood hoovers. And it's excruciatingly unproductive. Way more unproductive than not using AI. How do you build trust? Be you. Model vulnerability. Show people that you trust them by offering parts of yourself to them. I don't mean like talk about, like how I was emotionally abused as a child, and I was, but that's fine. But this is not a one-way street. If this makes you feel incredibly fidgety and uncomfortable, may I offer this advice? People are not sitting there thinking about you, obsessing over some random thing you did, and if they are, that's their problem. They're the stalker, not me. And it sounds easy, but it's not. I know it's not. You need to focus on what you can influence positively and say to the rest, F it. You need to focus on what you do like about people on your team in Vertical, and what you like about Red Ventures, and lean way, way into that. There's always something to like about someone, I can guarantee you. And the rest is just bad gravy. I did that backwards. Sorry, Sarah, I messed up my slides. And when you let go of the pressure on yourself and others, you're free to enjoy work, to engage with your team, to be enthusiastic about the incredibly fun problems that we get to solve. Is it hard to do? Yeah, at first. But much like anything, you build the muscle and the results come back 100-fold. When you model vulnerability, others will follow. If you're thinking, what if my team has a mood hoover? We'll fix it. If you're a manager, do the hard thing for which you're paid and address the issue. And if someone on your team has a mood hoover, hold your manager to the really low bar of foisting out fuckwits. Like, that is literally their job. And if that's... and if that's not enough, get help. Like, find another manager who's an ally. HRBP, me, not Ben. He's all shooty today. But don't suffer in silence. Too much is at stake. I'm not saying you can't have a bad day, but as I tell my sons, it's okay to be in a bad mood. It is not okay to be rude. I'm not saying you have to walk around like a human pixie stick full of sugar and artificial flavoring, but don't be a constant detractor and don't be a doom drain. If you've come to the bleak realization in the past 2 minutes that you're the mood hoover, stop it. Or we'll give Ben the Nerf gun back. If there is a secret sauce, it's that we're a village, not BFFs, not family, that has severe boundary issues. More like a really invested village. And I say we, because the onus is on every single person in this room to create that culture, and not just me because I'm perky. But by far, the most straightforward way to bring enjoyment to work is to recognize that the relationships with people around you are more important than profits or problems. And the way to build relationships is via connectedness, dynamic touch points, and psychological safety. quick plug for the smarties behind the scenes. Your data team loves you. It's also a Hug a Techie Day. I don't know if you know that. Nope. Do you think they did that because they wanted to censor me? That's funny. They did hold it this way. It's National Hug a Techie Day, but I'm just kidding. No touchy the techies without permission. Consent is king. The end, almost. Here's a freaky fact. Until recently, Skittles were not vegetarian because they had crushed up beetle-like bugs in them. I hope you enjoyed it if you're older than I am. The end.